Hello, welcome to yet another sketch episode. We're continuing with our sketch of Katherine Pierce from the Vampire Diaries. Many apologies for the additional delay in this episode. There's so many things going on, and it's not really worth talking about, but as long as I get there in the end, eh? So we've literally got only about a half hour left. This is the end stage. There's not really much else to do apart from the top of her dress and her hat. We're going to be fairly brief with this. It's only going to be very suggestive. It's not, there's not going to be any sort of mad detail here. But mainly because I just want to focus on her face. And I always kind of make this decision when I start out the sketch, or, very early on, as early as possible, really. And it's, just deciding on what I want to do, what I don't want to do. When I looked at this sketch, I knew that I was focused really on the face and the hair. I was concerned about the hair not being right. But I'm satisfied that it's turned out all right. I could spend, another few hours doing this at least. But I like its simplicity. I've always been quite a fan of simplicity in some aspects. Yes, I like detail in my image. I like hyper detail and realism. But at the same time, I also like it vague. And I always try to sort of get that balance between it being, almost sort of ethereal in terms of the depth of field that I apply to my images. And I'm always mindful of how I'm going to interpret something. You can see with the hair that the closer we get to the face, the more detail there is. I'm applying that sort of element of fog, distance fog and what have you. So we're just doing the top back side of her dress, where you can't see it in the source picture, but I'm just sort of blocking out the shadows. It's a similar approach to doing the hair, whereby I lay out a basic shade, and I did that before I went live with this, just because it's kind of like that boring bit. But what I did was, you saw it in a previous episode, where I just scribbled on a scrap piece of paper, and I took a bit of tissue paper and just sort of used that to rub in on the actual surface of the sketch, just to bring, the white shade down. It's got something, it's good to work with. So I tried to reach a certain look with this sketch, and the look I was after really was again, I think I mentioned this in a previous episode, but I was after that element of, the mermaid, the siren, that sort of harpy-like creature that sort of tempts you in and, devours you or something. And in this case, Katherine being a vampire, I still haven't looked to check whether she's a vampire, but I do believe she is. I don't watch the TV show. I just think I don't really watch much TV at all, to be quite honest. But I tried to sort of capture that sense, and at the same time, I wanted some sort of dullness, sort of death-like stare behind the eyes, and I tried to not include any sort of reflection at all. There's some shading there, as you can see, but it's not entirely accurate to her. It's a very sort of stylized version of her. And I in terms of me getting it spot on perfectly right, I'm not entirely sure I wanted to do that. And most of the time I go with the flow of the sketch, and I don't really bother myself with too many complexities at any given stage. I work it all out at the time, in terms of what I need to work out, and then I move a step forward. So with this whole piece here, I really did just wanted it to be vague. I bought a new camera stand, and so I'm just trying to work that out. I seem to have very bad luck when I order things. I do try to sort of do the right research, but for some reason everything I tend to get just ends up being not what I want. And Jesus, Amazon must hate me right now. So I'm just sort of, I'm working this frilly edge in here just because I want some kind of solidarity going on. I don't want it to be just vague down there. So I'm just working that out. So I'm all for realism, I do love it, but I do feel like that there's something to be said for marrying hyperrealism with cartoon styles, because for me, I think there's something in it, I think that there's a special kind of beauty to be had from it. So, I'll briefly talk about how I actually got into sketch, and I do remember sort of explaining some of it before. As I mentioned, I was always told that I could draw. I never believed anyone because I just thought that everyone can draw like this. I was a kid, so I didn't really sort of understand why other people aren't as good, and so I ignored it. And then later on in my life, I came across a really wonderful graphic novel called Kingdom Come, and that kind of changed everything. And my favorite artist from then on was Alex Ross. I did a video dedicating it to Alex Ross and how he changed my life. So that's on my channel, so do go check it out. But there was another there was an important lesson that I learned very early on. It was in the same year, and I was just sort of sketching, sort of trying to rekindle whatever old skills that I had, and a Rastafarian gentleman came up to me and he saw me drawing, and he was an artist as well, so we got chatting and we were having like a really nice conversation. He showed me some of his work, and it was really, really impressive. He did like these massive murals on a wall with nothing but pencils and a rubber. I couldn't believe it. It was like one of his walls in his his flat, and it was just like a pure white wall that he had just doodled on over the years, and it had become this massive mural. So he said, draw me something then. Draw me this. And he pulls out he pulls out one of the rubbers that I'm using and a pencil, and he drops it in front of, center of the table. And he says, draw it. And I'm like, okay. So I move my sheet aside of what I'm working on, and I grab an empty sheet of paper, and I look at it for a minute, and I start sketching, and he says, no, look at it. And I'm like, I did. And he goes, no, you didn't look at it hard enough. So I stopped drawing, and I look at the pencil and the rubber on the table, and I'm looking at it a bit harder, and after a few moments I go to start drawing again, and he's like, no, you haven't looked. I'm like, you've just seen me looking, right? And this went on, for a good few minutes, and I was starting to get really irate because I was actually sitting there looking, and I was staring at it, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't know what he wants me to see, because I can see it's a fucking pencil and I can see it's a rubber. So I make a big deal out of it, and I'm staring at it for a good 5 minutes before I pick up my pencil and start drawing it, and it doesn't say anything. So I finish it off and I show it to him, and he says, see how much better it is now that you've actually stared at it for a good amount of time. He said that when people think that they know the shape of something, more often than not, they won't actually be spot on. And if you're wanting to be going for realism, like I told him, then I have to really study an image. And he decided to piss me off just to drive the point home. And I learned my lesson. I learned that, every image now that I sketch, I stare at the source photo, and I just, I put together in my mind everything that I need to do for it, make sort of various early decisions, like how far I want to go in terms of detail, and, at the end of the day, it's just an enjoyable thing to do. But learning that lesson was really important for me, and I hope some of that rubs off onto you, if you are serious about drawing. There's so many channels for this. There's all these like techniques and stuff, and I'm not going to sit here and teach you any techniques. I think the best way to learn is to just watch people sketching. Nice, approachable people, I might say as well. People that won't ignore you, because I don't want to have a swipe at anyone, but I've tried reaching out to people with free gifts, not with the view of exposing my channel or anything, but I just wanted to give people gifts. I mean, I'm subscribed to a few YouTubers who like various different things. Someone likes Game of Thrones, someone likes something else. So whenever I do something, if someone likes the show that I'm doing a character for, then I'll reach out to them and I'll say, look, here you are. I thought you might like this. I'm not after anything. It's just a nice thing for me to do. I think for me to do. I like making people happy, and that's a genuine thing. I'm not throwing a curveball, this scam. The people can be quite apprehensive, and I completely and totally understand. And I make a point of not badgering on about, how I want you to subscribe to my channel. If you want to subscribe, you're going to subscribe. If you're going to want to click the notification bell, you're going to click the notification bell. I promised myself I wouldn't do this. But my point is that every video people say, oh, subscribe to my channel, do this, do that, do that. I hate it. I hate hearing that. I always switch off whenever I hear it, or I just skip forward. I don't want to hear it. So I'm not going to do it to you. So, but if you do like what I'm doing, you know what you need to do. It's fine. You can be in with a chance to win a custom sketch. It could be of you. It could be of your a member of your family. It could be your favorite celebrity. It could be whatever you want. If your picture is chosen, and there's a very, very good chance that your picture will be chosen, then you'll get the original. I'll sketch it for you. There'll be a video on it. I'll do the series of real-time live sketches, as well as doing a time-lapse speeded up version. So you will get sent the original if you want it. If you don't want the original, if you're a bit worried about, because you don't know me, that's absolutely fine. I'll send you a digital copy, and if you feel like one day you might be comfortable enough to actually have the original, you just make the request, Most of the work that I do, if it's not a commission, is free to use. If people approach me for a commission, I'll accept it and I'll do it. But most of the time, everything that I do is going to be for free. So this is going to end up being one of those sketches where I do it for free. And there's a gentleman who has subscribed who's going to receive the original. But the digital copies will be sort of handed out to those who actually ask for it. But you have to ask for it. I'm not just going to stick it on some gallery page for you to have. It's not going to, you're not going to find any of this stuff on DeviantArt or ArtStation or Art America or, any of that. You'll find, pictures, I've got an Instagram page, of course, but, those are tiny images. If you try and print that out, good luck. You're not going to get a very good copy. But anyway, you know the score, right? I'm doing this for free, and I don't really want people to make money out of it. So, we're coming up to 20 minutes in, and so I'm going to leave you with a lovely couple of tracks. They kind of have become the anthem for this channel. I do like it. It's from an artist called Ulrich Schnaus, if anyone's interested. He's available on YouTube Music, and he should be available on Spotify as well. He's an amazing artist. Apologies, because I don't know where he hails. I don't know what country he's from, but he's got some beautiful albums, and I love his music so much that I'm putting it on my videos, and I'm allowing YouTube to just take the revenue. None of my videos are going to be monetized, but if you do see adverts, I do apologize. It's not me, it's YouTube. It's just the way things are these days. I'm not making money out of these videos. I just want to, share the love, really. Just do things for people. That's really my goal. It might not sound like, an honest thing to say. It might not sound true to you, but it is. So anyway, enjoy the rest of the episode. There will be a speeded up version coming up very, very, very soon. It's nearly rendered out now. And until the next episode, which my next subject is going to be a very, very special subject of mine, so do look out for that. But until then, I shall see you next time. Take care.